This man is being interrogated as he has just lost his son. He's about to spin an extremely elaborate story of what happened in his son's final days, but it turns out he was lying every step of the way.
This is the day after he jumped out the window. I'm traumatized every day.
According to him, his son made their home life a constant misery, but the truth was much more sinister.
We are going to be interviewing you in regards to the crime of a homicide.
Homicide, that's like premeditated.
Teachers at Dakota's McLean School had suspected there was abuse going on in his household for quite some time, at one point even calling child services, but nothing was ever done. Mr. McLean decided to take Dakota out of school to avoid any more visits from child services, a story we've all heard before, and one that only ends in a living hell for the child. It is believed this young child lived most of his life locked in the attic, naked and terrified. He was abused, beaten, and treated like trash by his father, but the worst was yet to come. In December 2019, McLean dragged his son down the stairs in anger and, according to witness reports, threatened to drown him. And these weren't empty threats either, as they were followed by the sound of splashing water. Dakota was of course too weak to fight and eventually died from a combination of blunt force trauma and water submersion in a bathtub. Quickly, McLean was brought in by police under the assumption they just wanted to figure out what happened, but when he realized the detectives were accusing him of Dakota's death, he started trying to talk himself out of a murder charge.
Homicide is kind of a catch-all for somebody that died more than likely not of natural causes. Make sense?
Yeah.
So it kind of covers a lot of things. It could be murder, it could be...
That's the thing. I don't know. I don't even know why my child is dead. You heard? I still don't know.
If your child's dead?
No, they just told me he did, but they didn't tell me what killed him or anything like that. You hear me?
That's kind of what this opportunity is for you to tell us.
To discuss it with
we
you,
weren't
because
there.
right.
You were there. We weren't.
Right.
So this is once we go through your rights, this is your opportunity to kind of tell us what happened today.
Right away, McLean paints himself as an innocent party who tried to help his son when he was sick, and this would be the first in a long line of lies.
I want to know what's going on. I want to know what happened to my child.
We want you to tell us, because we weren't there, what happened today.
Well, this is what happened. I ain't slept in about 3 days, right? Kid keep falling down the stairs, keep knocking his head around. It looked like something was wrong with his stomach last night that I noticed, and I gave him some water to throw up. You know what I mean? I had him drink like several cups of water because it looked very odd normal. And I know that he used to eat in his own shit. So I just wanted to make sure that he was okay.
Eating your own feces is far from normal and is almost definitely a sign of abuse in the home. The two most likely causes are that his father was forcing him to do this, or that Dakota was left so hungry he was left with no other choice. Notice he is also explaining he made him drink several glasses of water, which is a possible cover story for drowning him in the bathtub.
So he drank the water, that was it. And I guess he goes back upstairs acting out some more. I mean, jumping off the banister, shitting everywhere, pissing everywhere, the usual, might I add. I've been dealing with this for probably since he was 2 years old, he's been doing this. So I've been very tired. I ain't slept in 3 days, so I'm just sitting there. And here he come rolling down the stairs again, ba-doom, ba-doom. I tell him go back upstairs. A little while later, I go up there. I see a stick in his ass, like a chair leg. So I asked him, what is he doing? And he's just steady, you know what I mean? Just steady doing what he do. This ain't the first time he tried something like that.
It appears that McLean could be trying to cover up other abuse here, as police would also find evidence of sexual abuse. By inventing this story, McLean could be trying to blame Dakota for injuries inflicted by himself.
I see blood on the ground and I asked him to pull it out. You know what I mean? Blood squirted immediately. Now I'm freaking out. I'm like, hurry up. You need to get downstairs so I can get you in the shower. You know what I mean? And see what's going on. So at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. I just see that he bruised up as usual. Seeing he never stopped. He would find any type of way, anything to use just to put a bruise on his body. So as a parent, I just put him in the shower. I put him in the bathtub. They try to, get some of the swelling to go down or whatever the situation may have been, clean him up, make sure he was good. So I'm sitting on the couch. He like, Dad, come here. He like, Dad, help. So I come up the stairs to help him. And that's when I noticed his body was cold, very, very, very cold. So I took him downstairs and tried to rinse him off, to see if he'd shake out of it, wake up. I had no clue of knowing that he was sick to that extent. I just figured he was doing his normal acting out. He was kind of tweaking a little bit, you know what I mean? But, yeah, as far as just, like this. This is my way of describing it, just like this. But this is something that he done pulled for many years. All the time, damn near every day. Anytime he don't want to have his way, this is what he's pulling. Can't get him to eat his breakfast. He don't want to eat his breakfast. All he want to do is eat his feces. So I'm like, all right, at this point, there's nothing I can do but let him sit there and lay down. Like I said, he said, Dad, help. And I came up the stairs. That's why I'm shocked as fuck right now. I'm not even crying or nothing. I'm just like in shock. Like, my child really dead? How? Is what I don't understand. Now, I know them girls didn't do nothing to him to kill him. I just don't understand it.
The girls McLean is describing are his girlfriend, Jennifer, and her sister, Amanda. Neither girl was directly involved in Dakota's death, but as the abuse had been going on for years, it seems unlikely that either were completely blind to what was happening, especially considering the injuries that were later discovered.
First of all, he had marks all over his body.
It's every day. Now, sometime I had to spank his behind just to prevent him from hurting himself. This boy jumped out the window before. Just straight out the window. There is no stopping him. I'm afraid. I've been telling people I was afraid, but at the same time, it was nothing I can do. And I can understand the fact that he had marks all over his body. You'd be surprised just to sit there and watch him do it. Or just to see there and you could just be like, stop, or no, or don't, and he's gonna whack, he's gonna bam, he's gonna jump, he's gonna flip, he's gonna kick. We had stairs he was letting up. He would kick him like that, you know what I mean? And kick him all kind of ways in the corner.
So he lived upstairs?
At times, yeah.
What do you mean at times?
Well, at first he was living downstairs, but the smell got too strong. Not only that, my little brother, I just got custody of him probably like 2 years ago. I've been taking care of my little brother. Okay, so he been living with us. Do y'all have my little brother? Okay, good. I'll just make sure he all right. Okay, so yeah, my little brother started living with us, right? And the Bob want to get aggressive with him and, you know what I mean? Try to take his clothes off in front of him and stuff like that. So, I had to protect him. I had to just send Dakota upstairs. The living environment, it was fine. It wasn't, it was perfect, actually. When he went up there, it didn't stink. He had a bed, he had clothes, he had everything he wanted. But this is the point that I'm trying to make as a parent. This how far this shit go. Like, I can't get a boy a blanket. Because if I give him a blanket, now he has marks all over his body from him pissing on himself and wrapping around his own blanket. You know what I mean? If he did that continuously, there'd be rashes and, that's unsanitary.
McLean then goes on to say Dakota had once jumped through a window and was a child that had caused a lot of problems in the home. This would give him the excuse as to why he needed to explain why his son had so many injuries on his body, but this behavior was never witnessed by anyone, including Dakota's teachers, before he was pulled out of school.
But every time I go up there, there's mountains of urine and mountains of feces all around the room, the walls, everywhere. And I've told social services about how he used to crack himself and hurt himself and all that. But they said when he turned 12 years old, I could have looked into getting him into this one program or one facility. He would have turned 11 3 days from now. And like I said, ma'am, I am shocked right now at this point that he died. Never seen it coming.
The autopsy later revealed that Dakota had been stamped on, punched, and beaten so severely the injuries were similar to those you would suffer in a car crash. Continuing his lies, he now decides to try and explain other injuries they found.
I've seen him flip the table. He got the table flipped over, sticking his butthole on the table. If you flip this thing upside down and knock this back off, that's just straight ride out. But that's the kind of stuff he was into. I ain't never sexually harassed my child or do nothing like that. That's homophobic. And that's homo, and I ain't far from gay, you know what I mean? I ain't never played with they private parts. You see my little brother, correct? Healthy as an ox. We give him the same treatment. One just chooses to eat his food, and the other one chooses to eat his shit. And I mean, he got fed 3-4 times a day. So I'm dealing with that on top of the fact that now we ain't got no health insurance. Because he done got in trouble so damn much to the point where I can't leave the house for 2 minutes or not 1 minute without worrying about, is he killing himself, hurting himself, doing what he doing? I really don't know why my child is dead right now. I still don't know. And that's what I would like to know, please.
And then the detectives hear an alarming confession.
Did you ever take him to the doctor?
Yeah, he's been to the doctor.
He has?
Yeah.
What's the doctor?
It's been so long, I don't even know. I just know it was probably like when my health insurance ran out. Probably close to 3 years ago.
So the kid hasn't seen a doctor in 3 years?
Yeah, but he been to the hospital in less than that.
When
So
was he at the hospital?
probably like a year ago when he jumped out the window.
Dating children?
Yeah, he always been very healthy.
Okay. Who was his PCP? His primary caregiver?
I didn't have no primary.
Care physician?
No, I didn't have one.
Where did you take him to the doctor?
I only took him to the hospital. And I only took him to the doctor when he needed it. And it won't, nothing wrong with him.
A child never being taken to a doctor can also indicate abuse in the home. This is because regular visits to the doctor help to monitor a child's welfare over a period of time. Simply taking him to the hospital when he's ill doesn't give medical professionals that chance. All McLean is doing here is giving the detective more of his story that might be contradicted by the evidence they find.
So at 6 a.m. this morning?
6 a.m. this morning. All right, so I see him doing that. I pay it no mind. I'm like, you know, I didn't think he was hurting himself at all. So I'm like, what is he finna do?
You didn't think he was hurting himself?
Not at the time.
Okay.
I'm thinking in my head, like, what could he possibly be doing with that? Okay. I get up around, say about 8 o'clock, go get him his breakfast and stuff like that. So I go up there and he laying on his tarp and he got it in his butt. I'm like, what the hell do you think you doing? I say, pull it out right now. He wants to get the wrestling and you know what I mean? Either way.
I don't know what you mean because I don't live in your house. So
well, he want to get wrestling and aggressive. Like he don't want me to take it out of him, and he don't want me to have it. Period. So I grab it out, blood squirt. Yup, and it started dripping. So put him in the shower. I put him in the bathtub, and I tried to clean it up and look at it to see if it was worth me taking him to the ER right away. But to the eye, I'm not a doctor. It didn't look that bad. So I'm just thinking.
What did you see? Just
like his butt hole with a little blood. Because, you know, I checked it out afterwards. I'm like, whoa, let me see. And she then did. And it was a little swollen.
McLean's long list of injuries Dakota had inflicted on himself is just a way of trying to explain those injuries that were found on his body. What he doesn't realize is that they were not self-inflicted, according to the boy's autopsy.
And here's the thing, as a parent, I'm afraid, I was concerned, like, damn, if I take him anywhere, they're going to be looking at me like I did this. You know what I mean? So at the same time, I was trying to just get him together to where he didn't have any bruises, and then I can take him somewhere and see about possibly more therapy or something like that.
So you know he needed some sort of treatment.
Giving lots of details during an interrogation can often be a sign of someone that is lying or trying to hide something. As far as McLean is concerned, he's done everything for his son to control his behavior and has tried to help him in any way he can. His story isn't winning over the detectives though, as McLean's girlfriend was also in the house and her version of events doesn't match his.
Yeah, when he asked me for help, he stood up like this. He was laying down and he pushed up like this, like that help.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, let me go see what's wrong with him.
What did he use to push up with?
His bed.
His bed?
Yeah. So he pushed up and he was like, help. So I go up there to help him out and he got some stuff coming out of his mouth. You know what I mean? On my head, I'm thinking it's shit all automatically.
Okay.
But because the night before, like I said, I just noticed how big his belly was. And I gave him some water so he can throw it up. You know, if he had anything bad in him. Couple cups of water.
Okay.
I gave about 6-7 cups. You know, trying to force him to throw it up. Is there anything bad in there? I don't know if he swallowed his fork or what he did. So I'm like,
swallowed his fork?
Yeah, that he was outrageous.
Okay.
Or what he would have done. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, your child, you see him 1 minute, next minute you see him got a belly way out here. You like, so what I do immediately, I try to get him some water to flush it out.
We're back to where he's calling for help and he's used his bed to push himself up.
Yup.
Okay. And what happens next?
So I ran up there and grabbed him, rinsed him off.
Did he walk down the steps? Did you carry
Kinda,
him?
sorta.
Tell me how you guys came down the steps.
I'm holding him like this.
Is he in front of you, behind you, or next to you?
He in front and on the side, like a little bit, because the stairs is narrow.
Okay. So
Okay.
where are your arms?
My arm's right here. This is where he at, right
I
here.
get that, but how are you under him or on top of him, or how are you?
Under him.
So you're under his arms?
Yep, trying to hold him up.
Okay.
Yep,
And he's walking?
slightly, not much.
So are you
I'm basically doing all the work.
Are you dragging his feet along? Or you got him up off the steps? What do you?
Yeah, I drag him a little bit.
This is not the story Jennifer gave the detectives. She says she never heard Dakota call for help, and all McLean is doing is digging a deeper hole for himself that he's going to find it very difficult to get out of.
I try to cooperate with him and everything. Am I the only one being charged here?
I don't think anybody's been charged yet.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on, you hear me?
Yep. Then the medics take him away, and that's the last thing you know.
And I'm in jail.
I'm sorry?
I said, yes ma'am, then I'm in jail.
You've been to jail?
This is jail. I mean, I was in that back room back there.
Right, but you've not been to jail. Okay.
So I'm sitting back there. The whole time I'm just thinking my son gonna be all right, because I mean they put him in the back of the ambulance. So I'm thinking he's gonna be all right. And I ain't gonna lie, this is another thing I want to say. When I went to give him CPR and I was taking it, whatever it was, out his mouth, it smelled so rotten, so awful.
Did you give him the breath? Like over his mouth? Were you giving him his breath?
His breath?
His breath, like when you do CPR, you're supposed to breathe into their mouth?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was giving him his breath, and I gave him 12 pumps on the chest and gave him some more. Like I said, I had him back when the ambulance got there.
Asking if he or anyone else has been charged might seem like an innocent question, but he could be implying that others are to blame rather than or as well as himself. But his girlfriend and her sister went on to tell police of the abuse that McLean had been putting his son through, and their descriptions matched many of the injuries on the boy's body. McLean punched and elbowed Dakota before making him stand in an uncomfortable position as punishment and just left him there for a couple of hours. McLean then abused him some more before dragging him down the stairs by his ears and throwing him in the bathtub, ultimately killing him. Despite his lengthy story, he later pleaded guilty to murdering and abusing his son and was sentenced to 5 years to life in prison. There was no denying the guilt of these next abusive parents, where detectives try to understand how a mother can let her own baby starve to death.
Tatiana, we're all parents in this room. You have to look at that precious little angel.
And you can see every single bone in her body.
When police responded to a 911 call on August 2nd, 2018, they knew the scene would be grim, but they had no idea what they were about to walk into. Tatiana had called 911 about her daughter, and when the police found her, they were sickened by what they saw. 9-month-old Mary weighed about 8 pounds, or the equivalent of a newborn baby. But she hadn't suffered a terrible illness or accident, she had been starved to death. In the disturbing 911 call, her father Seth had described Mary as dead as a doornail.
How many children do you have?
Sorry, 5.
3?
3.
Okay, yep, right. How old is your oldest?
4.
At the scene there, I was told that verbal. Is that true that he doesn't, or he's very verbal?
He's very verbal.
I don't know. And you know how it gets mixed, you whisper in one person's ear and as it goes down the chain. Maybe he was just being shy. So that's
He tends to get shy, but
yeah, he did some high-fiving for me, but
he knows lots of words. He's just, sometimes big sister can be a little dominating. So
maybe
she
that's what it
for
is.
him, but,
and probably all the commotion probably really made him shy. So maybe they were just saying he was nonverbal right now. Maybe that's what it was.
possibly.
Medical issues or nothing like that? Okay.
Not at all.
4, is she in any kind of daycare? Does she
No.
Does she have preschool?
No, I homeschool. I have my degree in early childhood
Oh, you do?
education,
Okay.
so I
Good for you.
thought from being at home at the farm, I can at least give them an initial education before.
Yeah.
Tatiana was trying to show the officers she is in fact a great mother, having homeschooled her children and supposedly taken a hands-on approach. Although the detectives will be concerned about the welfare of all her children, they concentrate on the victim. As Mary was so desperately malnourished, the detectives questioned how often she was fed, especially during her last few days.
And when was the last time that you thought she was 20 pounds? Yesterday. Okay. And yesterday, when you thought she was 20 pounds, how long would you have guessed her to be?
I mean, her legs would wrap around my waist. She's quite long.
Because she was born at 20 inches, right?
Mm-hmm. So her head here, and she would just grab around the side there. So 26 inches maybe.
Okay.
Quite long.
These last 3 days that she was going through a growing spurt, you were off from work Tuesday, and that's the first day that you noticed that?
Yes. And then I went to work Wednesday yesterday, and I worked. And she does have a different schedule when I go to work, if you need to make note of that.
Yes, what's that?
So in the morning, she gets up at 7, along with the other children. Breakfast for her and for everyone. And that would be nursing and nursing for about a half hour while the kids ate. And then oatmeal. Oatmeal with maybe some maple syrup in it, or oatmeal with strawberries in it. Just depends.
Spoon oatmeal or oatmeal mixed in a bottle? Okay.
Nice and chunky for her. And then I'd keep her up, and she would be awake until I had to go to work. So she'd be awake, then it was time to go outside and help Daddy with the fields, and we'd do weeding, or I'd sit Mary in her stroller, and she'd just sit and watch the ducks, and just laugh at them.
So you didn't work, was it 7?
I didn't work. I'm sorry.
You start your day again, was it 7 o'clock that you start
In the
your day?
morning, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, your work day, on your days of work, what time did you start?
3 o'clock.
3 p.m. So you'd keep her awake from 7 till 3?
To 2:30.
Till 2:30.
Yeah.
And so during that time that she was kept awake, how many other meals did she have?
4. Yeah.
So
One of
she
them
had
was just nursing.
Well, the 7 o'clock one was breakfast. It was nursing for 30 minutes, oatmeal, some maple syrup or fruit, whatever you had around. So when would the next meal then be on this different routine day?
Oh, probably about when the kids would usually want a snack around 9. So it'd be then. She eats maybe 9:30, 10. And that's that was when it'd be quiet time for the kids. Kids would go in their room and they could read, they could sit in their bed quietly.
Okay.
And then if the kids were getting too restless, then time to go back outside. Or they'd have to clean their room. It just depends.
Yeah.
But for yesterday, the kids, we went back outside. It was just so nice out. She likes it keeps her quiet if you go for walks in the stroller. So we just went up and down the driveway, we checked the mail, we picked the garbage.
So the last time she would have ate would have been 1:30 yesterday in the afternoon?
No. I'd feed her again at 1:30 and then...
Tatiana is lying, and the detectives know it. Mary's autopsy revealed that she had not been fed for several days before she died.
What was that feeding?
Nursing and some oatmeal.
How long was that nursing?
The nursing was about 20 minutes, the oatmeal was a little longer. She was about 8 ounces of oatmeal. And then I think the kids were just still outside. I just rested my feet before work because I'm just standing for 8 hours.
That was at 1:30?
Yeah. So then 2:30 was when Mary was finished eating. 2:30 was the end of it, and that's when I changed her diaper again and put her down.
Poopy diaper.
Yesterday morning when I got her up.
Have you noticed a decline in poopy diapers?
No, not at all. It was just surprised me. I mean, this morning when I got her up, she had spit up, and
So yesterday morning when you got her up at 7, she had spit up?
Yes, at 9 when I got her up, when I tried to get her up.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she choked on her spit. That's why.
What color was her spit up?
It was foamy and brown. It was the oatmeal and the fruit mixed in there.
All Tatiana is doing is giving the detectives more to go on. She would not have had oatmeal in her spit as she had not eaten for several days. She goes on to say there was no sign she was in serious danger at the time.
So where was the spit up at?
The side of her mouth, the side of her face.
And was that, did you think, I don't know, was it food? Was it blood?
No, it wasn't.
It was not blood?
No,
She didn't have any kind of vomiting of blood or anything like that?
No, never.
Okay.
We would have taken to a doctor.
Well, sure.
That
Yeah.
never happened.
So you were certain it was food?
Yeah, because that's what
And it was on the side, it was on what side of her face?
her right side.
Her right side, okay. And then that's when you noticed that she was unresponsive. It was
Yeah.
this morning when you saw that. And what happened next?
Excuse me. Her eyes were open.
Did anything else look strange other than obviously just stood up and that her eyes were open? Or other than that, did she look as usual?
Just cold.
Okay.
So I went in to get Seth, and it's an emergency. And I was just so shocked, and he reminded me I knew CPR, and he told me to start. So I took her from the bed, and I put her on her changing table, and I started CPR, and I did the 2-finger touch on the chest. If you use your whole hand, you could break ribs, and I just didn't want to do that, that's for sure.
I know this is tough.
So I did a 2-finger touch on the chest and her back, and I wiped her mouth, and I did.
So you did this on her on the kitchen table?
No, the changing
On
table.
the changing table in the bedroom?
Yes.
During the interrogation, Tatiana has tried to persuade the detectives that both her and Seth are caring parents and have tried their best to look after their kids. But all she's doing is providing more evidence that she is lying.
So you said you did it on her mouth and then you wiped her mouth.
I wiped her mouth first because there was the spit up. And now that I think about it, I think it was banana and oatmeal. You know when banana's been sitting out and it's very ripe?
Oh, yeah.
It gets that like brownish color.
Yeah.
But ripe banana's very sweet, and then she eats the oatmeal better with it.
So what did you wipe her mouth with?
A baby wipe, a lavender scented baby wipe.
Okay. And then you did what with that?
I threw it in the garbage.
Okay.
Well, not immediately, no. I just
No.
wiped her and put it to the side,
Just wiped her into it now. Yeah.
right next on the changing table.
And then you picked her up out of the bed.
Yes. And then I put her on the changing table, and then when I was pumping her chest, there was like bubbles, bubbles coming out of her mouth. So I thought maybe that's why I thought she choked. And then maybe if I kept pumping, like it would, like maybe it would come out, and then she'd like cough and wake up. Because I just kept wiping the bubbles, and I was giving her air and giving her pumping with my finger, just my 2 fingers. Maybe I should have done more.
Nope, you were doing it right.
And she was still so cold, and I think maybe 10 minutes. It's so hard to gauge time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not with me the whole time, and he just asked me, is she dead? Is she gone? While he was crying, just asking me, is she gone? And it's just so hard to say yes. And I just said yes. She's just unresponsive. And then we had no idea what to do then at all. Like, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
And so he called his parents, or he called his dad first, excuse me.
Seth's parents were both attorneys, which might lead police to believe he was trying to get some advice on how to handle the situation. Tatiana has also lied about how long she left Mary before checking on her, which is another way of trying to show she's a caring mother, and absolutely not abusive. But these detectives are simply not buying it, so they start to pile on the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but you saw her and we saw her, and she's tiny.
Tatiana, we're all parents in this room. Okay, and we all need to be honest. You remember in the car when I first talked with you, and I told you that at the end of the day, we all need to know exactly right. Okay, so we need to tell her story. Okay, and I want you to think about this for a minute. I want you to think for a second and put yourself in our shoes. You're the police officer. You're the police detective. You get called out to that home today. You get called to my home or his home today. Okay, you the police officer. And then you have to go into that house and you have to look at that precious little angel. Okay? Do you think she was healthy, honestly?
When you look at her size and you can see every single bone in her body, do you think she was healthy?
We know this isn't easy, Tatiana, but we need to know what happened to her. What was going on?
So when did she start losing all that weight?
She's too safe.
But she's lost so much weight that you can't lose that much in 2 days.
It's impossible for a child to lose that much weight in 2 days, and it looks like Tatiana is starting to realize this. The detectives are now leaning forward, trying to close in on the suspect, giving her nowhere else to go, and almost threatening her with their presence. They tried asking her what happened, but now they've heard enough, and one of the detective's paternal instincts kick in.
It put tears in our eyes when we walked in there. It was that obvious.
Tatiana, I'm going to be quite honest with you right now, okay? One parent to another, and I'm going to try and control my emotions, all right? I've been to a child death investigator school, and I've seen photos and images of children that have been malnourished. And I'm telling you right now, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Really?
Yes. You clearly need help too, though.
You're going to
Okay.
be dealing with this. This is baggage. This is something that... But all I want to know is what stopped you from seeking help? You knew something was wrong. What stopped you? Tell us the truth.
I mean, are you guys that financially strapped? I mean, what is it? Do you not believe in healthcare? Do you have religious beliefs? I mean, what is it?
We do have religious beliefs, and we were praying about it, and we have faith that.
When did you start praying about it?
I mean, when she was born, but consistently and heavily the past 4 days.
So 4 days ago, you started praying. What were your prayers?
Stop bringing weight. She's eating whites and it's sticking. She ate so much.
But so why?
Did it stick?
What she has said during the interrogation is alarming to detectives, but when they let Seth and Tatiana share a moment, police find they are more concerned about themselves and their reputation rather than the fact they have just lost their baby daughter. Most concerning is Seth, who seems frustrated at what Tatiana has told detectives, and so they try to cover their tracks.
I'll, you just a couple minutes, okay?
Hi, baby. Hi. It took so long.
kids, all three of their birth, weight, height, eating habits, and developmental skills. Early, including her pee and poop. And then I think that was a distraction, because why did it take you so long to call? I just kept berating with that and we didn't let me answer.
Took you so long to what?
To call the police after finding out.
I told you like 6 times. I was waiting for the lawyer to be there because we knew that this would happen.
So I told them we were waiting for her.
And listen to this, baby. Their job is to fill cells. It's their job. So they can fill 2 cells right now. And that's...
They were angry. Like it sounded like they were trying, I don't know if it was a movie like, but like separate us.
That's what they're doing. Trying to drive a wedge in between and then hope somebody accuses the other.
But what Seth doesn't know is that Tatiana has already thrown him under the bus by telling the detectives it was him that stopped her taking Mary to the doctors. By this point, Seth has stopped comforting Tatiana and now appears to be contemplating his actions and what their fate might be.
That's how they keep making murders. Because they don't. They can tell by looking at me.
Yeah.
They're gonna do shit. So they're making them break down and accuse me as who they're looking for. Go home and we get really banged. I mean, I really like to not talk about it at all anymore today. Can't ever do this again. We at least gotta take her. There's problems. We gotta take him to the doctor at least to see.
Okay, yep.
I'm sorry.
But unfortunately for them, they won't get the chance. With the overwhelming evidence against them that they had in fact slowly starved their daughter over a period of time, they were both found guilty and are facing life in prison without the possibility of parole. Starving your own child is a pretty sick and twisted thing to do, but these two are nothing compared to this next killer who could have wiped out his entire family if he wasn't stopped.
We just celebrated 4 years Tuesday. I went to the cemetery.
Oh,
stuff
I
down.
said you celebrate.
When first responders arrived at a house in November of 2008, they came across what initially looked like an accident. 23-year-old Levi had been crushed after a truck fell off its jack in the garage. When medics arrived, they had no chance of resuscitating him, as he had been dead for hours. But detectives later found out information that could prove this accident might actually be a murder, and their number one suspect is waiting for them in the interrogation room.
A lot of people think you did it for money.
Oh, I
don't
know.
believe
Oh,
that.
I knew his
But why-
family.
What? Okay, your family thinks that too?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. We can prove it. We can prove it. You don't have to try to hide it anymore. What I think is what you're trying to do now is save your family from what you think is going to hurt them if you get wrapped up in this. I'm thinking that that's why you're telling me, Spence. The person that I've studied for a year with Lieutenant here, this is totally out of character. I'm shocked. And it honestly makes me wonder if you did do this for the money.
No.
Because it looks that way.
Well,
you come in here and I'm thinking, we're like, this guy is going to do the right thing. He's going to come in here, he's going to tell the truth, he's going to tell us how he made a decision, he may regret it. When you come here and start telling lies, you know what, I just right in the back of my head is speaking up is, oh, you did do it for the money. Because you took out that policy.
He took out the policy.
Who paid the principal?
I paid the first one. Because
I don't even want to get into that, because that's all factual, and what that looks like, and I don't even want to say it because I don't believe it.
No,
but then you know what that is? You know what people who have a lot more experience than I do say when they look at that? Motive.
Carl was Levi's father, and even if he wasn't there at the time Levi was found, he was still the main suspect. It seems Carl has a history of tragic accidents surrounding him, and it all started 30 years earlier. It's New Year's Day, 1991, and as the fire department arrived at Carl's house, they found him trying to save his family from a fire. His wife Christina was still trapped inside the house, and sadly, she never made it out. Her autopsy revealed she had died from smoke inhalation. Carl's next move is a little confusing, as he packed up and left town before her funeral. At around the same time, he was cashing in her life insurance, which made Christina's family extremely suspicious, but they were powerless to do anything at the time, and within a year, he met his new wife, Cindy. When his ex-wife's family found out about Levi, they contacted police and told them they thought Carl had killed his own son. They had no evidence, of course, so they had hoped police could persuade him to confess. But at every chance Carl gets, he makes himself the subject of the interrogation.
I want to do this. I went through his ashes with a freaking funnel and a filter, and I filled up their necklaces.
Oh, okay.
And I bawled like a baby the whole way through. Okay, there's chunks. There's bone chunks that don't get burned. And, excuse me, but you don't want to do that. I handle it well until I talk about it. I do. I've never gotten over it. You don't. We just celebrated 4 years Tuesday. I went to the cemetery, spent a while there, and took pictures.
Celebrated what?
I went to the cemetery to put Oh,
I thought you said you celebrate.
Oh, no.
But he did just say he celebrated the 4-year anniversary of the death of his son. It's not a word that you could easily confuse in such a sensitive conversation. What makes it worse is that the life insurance policy was set up only 2 weeks before Levi died, and it was Carl who convinced his son to do it.
All right, it's crunch time. You're gonna tell me the truth now, or I swear to God, this is over. Like I said, and you're not gonna like the way it ends. This is it, last chance.
I can't tell you something I didn't do, sir.
That's what you're gonna stick to.
Yes.
Sir, bad idea.
Can't tell you something I didn't do.
Sure you can. You did already. You told me stuff that wasn't true.
Well, I think I was scared then. Scared.
I think you're scared now. You know, I'll walk down the road with you. I will. I'll walk down the road. I'll stand by you on this if you are honest about it. Because everybody else that's working this case is pretty much giving up on
Yeah,
it.
but look what happens to me. I'm gonna go to jail.
I don't know what's gonna happen to you yet.
For something I didn't do.
Again, Carl simply brings it around to himself by trying to make the detective feel sorry for him.
You're very close, Carl.
I didn't do it.
I think part of you did. Maybe not all of it.
No way, I didn't. There was nothing.
Man, you can do it.
And then I put up the door and stepped in. I got a cramp in my back.
Wait, right here?
No. Oh. I started getting muscle spasms bad.
Okay, well, I got somebody working on it. I got somebody working on getting that for you. Let's finish. We're almost done.
What Carl doesn't know is that his current wife, Cindy, has already spoken to police. She had no idea about Levi's life insurance policy until after his death. But what made her really worried was that he had secretly taken a policy out on her too. Carl had started by claiming that a truck fell on Levi by accident, but now he was telling a different story altogether.
So you opened the car door?
I opened the truck door because I had to get inside to move the linkage for the truck. And when I did, it just fell over.
Now the detectives have him right where they want him. He's admitted that he caused the truck to fall and is responsible for his son's death. They can arrest him right there and then if they like, but what they really want is the full confession. It's clear by Carl's body language that he's close to crumbling completely.
You're almost there, my friend.
Thank you. I can walk this. I had nothing to do with any of the other things. I don't give a shit how bad it looks.
I still got the same problem, Carl, that you just walked away and left him there.
I know.
I think you're almost
That's it.
there.
I mean, I walked away. What do you do there? I don't know if it was the drugs that made me just go and just not register. I don't know.
You pull him out right away?
When I got home, and it was like, it all become real. It's like putting a face. You know, you see a dead body or something that's okay, but you see the face, it becomes real. Little revelation. Can I talk to you?
Talk. What's the revelation?
When I went in the garage, I didn't find Levi dead.
After telling the second detective the same story, there's only one way out of this interrogation for him, and that's in handcuffs.
I'm going to go out and get a statement for him so the fact clerk can finish taking the statement. I'm not going to call you a liar. I'm going to tell you that you're as untruthful as any person I've ever met. In an attempt to be more manipulative and to do what you did to your son and try to tell us 3 different versions of it without still telling us the truth shows me who you really are.
Well, come with me. You're under arrest. I think you knew that was coming.
Carl would later plead guilty to the second-degree murder of his son, Levi, and was sentenced to 15 years, but his problems were not over yet. It later turned out that there was evidence that his first wife, Christina, had been covered in flammable liquid before the fire that killed her had started. The investigation into her death was reopened in 2020, and he was sentenced to life in prison for second-degree murder, giving Christina's family justice over 30 years after her death.